In addition to founding Exceed Capital, I currently serve on the National Academy's Steering Committee on SBIR, which after nearly 5 years of work and 9 of these rather weighty tomes, has produced the first comprehensive assessment of SBIR in the program's near 2.5-decade existence. In the interests of full disclosure, you should also note that at least 2 of Exceed's portfolio companies have received Phase 1 SBIR awards, and several other applications are in process. In a sense, then, I wear multiple hats today, except where I explicitly call out findings and recommendations of the Academy's SBIR studies. The views I express here and in my written testimony are my own. 4 points to make. First, as the chairwoman's opening remarks and as both of the prior witnesses suggested, the SBIR program plays a specific role in promoting innovation by small businesses for which other sources of capital are usually unavailable, inappropriate, or inadequate. It fills several major gaps in funding. Even in my own backyard, Silicon Valley, arguably the 50 or so most overcapitalized square miles on Earth, even there, SBIR dollars matter. They help seed new businesses. They help seed or advance innovative new ideas or approaches within established small companies. They help very often to sustain the very survival of innovative small businesses until they can find that, as I think almost all entrepreneurs would affirm, that often tortuous path toward commercial success. Let me don my National Academy's Steering Committee hat for my second point. Mr. Shabat did a very good job of summarizing many of the findings. The Academy's study of SBIR has concluded on the whole that the program is meeting its congressionally mandated objectives. There is a laudable inventiveness and diversity across the program within and between individual agencies. A laudable diversity that includes many best practices that ought to be emulated more widely across the program, and also suggests program improvements which are necessary if the program's performance to congressional objectives is to be optimized. Some of those recommendations are spelled out in my testimony. Recommendations like the need to eliminate the overly long processing delays between phases in the program, like the need for increased commercialization support. Some of these are spelled out in my testimony. Many more are spelled out in these studies. If the committee permits, I'd like to incorporate by reference here, as in my written testimony, the findings and recommendations, particularly of the summary study. Third point, among the most significant issues flagged by the Academy's studies is this. The SBIR program is insufficiently data-driven in the committee's view. It generates little hard data that would permit Congress to quantify and measure the program's performance to the various congressional objectives it serves. Because of this fact, it is really difficult to answer questions you may have, such as questions like to what extent the program ought to have a preferential claim on scarce federal technology R&D resources. In my personal opinion, that the program needs to be better quantified and measured. Improvements to that end are essential if Congress is to have a more objective basis on which future decisions about allocations of funds to SBIR can be made. Finally, taking off my Academy's hat and donning that of a venture investor, let me address one last issue. It's this: should the SBIR program exclude small businesses that are majority owned by venture capital investors? My answer, for reasons spelled out in my written testimony, my answer is this. If one of the most significant of Congress's goals for the SBIR program is to stimulate increased innovation by small business, innovation that can achieve commercial success and help to meet agency missions, then small businesses that otherwise meet all of the program's criteria should not be denied SBIRs simply because they are majority owned by venture investors. I'm happy to elaborate on all of these points and any other issues as the committee members desire. Madam Chairwoman, thank you for your time and attention.